Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about motivation, not the sugar-coated version, not the hype, not the posters on the wall. I'm talking about the honest truth. Motivation is not magic. It doesn't show up on command. It's not something you can borrow from someone else. You see, most people wait for motivation like it's a taxi. But here's the truth. Motivation is not coming unless you send it an invitation. Motivation is a spark, but if you don't have fuel, that spark is useless. And that fuel, it's called discipline. It's called purpose. It's called getting up and doing the work, even when you don't feel like it. You don't get motivated by sitting around thinking about success. You get motivated by owning small things that move you forward, and then the momentum kicks in. Here's the kicker. Motivation doesn't last. That's why you need to renew it every day. Just like you can't shower once and expect to stay clean forever, you can't hear one speech and expect to stay motivated for life. You want the truth? Most days you won't feel like it. But if you build the habit of showing up anyway, your life will change not by accident, but by choice. Success doesn't come from waiting to be inspired. It comes from creating a lifestyle that keeps you going when inspiration is nowhere to be found. Motivation may get you started, but discipline keeps you going. So stop waiting. Start doing, and watch what happens when your daily actions become stronger than your excuses. Motivation is the spark, not the fire. It gets you started, but it's not enough to keep you going. Don't wait for motivation, create it. Action breeds motivation, not the other way around. Discipline is more powerful than inspiration. When motivation fades, discipline keeps you in motion. Small wins build big momentum. Start with little actions and let success stack up. Motivation doesn't last. Recharge it daily. Just like eating or sleeping, it's a daily need. You'll never always feel like it. Success comes from doing the work, especially on the hard days. Goals give direction, habits create results. Set the vision, but build the systems. Your environment fuels your mindset. Surround yourself with energy, not excuses. Excuses are comfortable lies. Trade them in for uncomfortable action that pays off. Motivation is personal responsibility. No one's coming to push you. It's on you to push yourself. Motivation is the spark, not the fire. It's that quick jolt, that moment of energy when you hear something powerful, when a new idea hits you, or when you suddenly see a better version of your life flash in front of you. It's exciting. It's emotional. It wakes you up. But here's the thing. Sparks don't last. They flash, then they're gone. The mistake most people make is thinking that spark is enough. It's not. A spark doesn't cook the meal. A spark doesn't heat the house. A spark doesn't build the business. It only gets things going. If you don't feed it, if you don't protect it, and turn it into a flame, it dies. Every time. You need fuel. You need wood on the fire. And in life, that fuel is your routine, your habits, your work ethic. It's what you do when nobody's watching. It's showing up after the feeling has faded. That's what turns a little spark into something powerful. A fire strong enough to warm your life and maybe even light the way for others. So sure, get inspired. Let the spark hit you. But don't stop there. Build the fire. Keep it burning. That's where the real transformation begins. Don't wait for motivation, create it. You see, a lot of people are standing around, arms crossed, saying, I'll move when I feel like it. But life doesn't work that way. You don't wait to feel ready, you get moving, and then the energy shows up. People ask, how do I get motivated? Start something, open the book, go for the walk. Make the call, clean the desk, whatever it is, just begin. Because once you start, something interesting happens, momentum kicks in. And momentum has a way of pulling you forward, even when motivation is nowhere in sight. The ones who win aren't the ones who wait for perfect conditions. They're the ones who learn to act without waiting. They figured out that motivation is not something you hope shows up. It's something you generate through movement, effort, and decision. You don't need fireworks. You don't need lightning in a bottle. You just need to take the first step. One foot in front of the other. The motion creates emotion, and that's when the motivation arrives, not before. So stop waiting for the feeling. The feeling will follow the doing. Discipline is more powerful than inspiration. Inspiration is beautiful. It moves the heart. It stirs the soul. It gives you a glimpse of what's possible. But it comes and goes. It's like the weather. Some days it's sunny, some days it's cloudy. You can't build a life on something that's always changing. But discipline, now that's different. Discipline shows up whether you feel like it or not. Discipline doesn't care if you're in the mood. It just says, it's time to go to work. It's steady. It's consistent. It's the muscle you train every single day until it becomes part of who you are. Inspiration might get you to buy the book. Discipline gets you to read it. Inspiration might get you to sign up for the gym. Discipline gets you there at 6 a.m., rain or shine. You see, the world is full of inspired people who never followed through. But the disciplined ones, those are the ones who cross the finish line. So yes, get inspired, let it light the spark. But don't rely on it to carry you. Build discipline like a bricklayer builds a wall, one block at a time, day after day. Because when the excitement fades, discipline is what keeps the dream alive. Small wins build big momentum. That's the truth. You don't need to climb the whole mountain today. You just need to take the next step. Most people get overwhelmed because they're staring at the top, thinking about how far they have to go. But the smart ones, they focus on the first foothold, the next grip, the next 5 feet. You see, success is rarely one giant leap. It's a series of small, intentional steps stacked on top of each other. You clean out one drawer, suddenly the whole room feels lighter. You finish one workout, your body starts believing you can keep going. You make one phone call, and the next one feels easier. That's momentum. And it doesn't come from doing everything. It comes from doing something. Those small wins are proof that you're moving, proof that you're capable. And that proof turns into belief, and belief turns into action. One win leads to another, and suddenly you're not pushing anymore, you're being pulled by progress. And don't underestimate the power of one good decision today. Stack enough of those, and one day people will call you lucky when really you were just consistent. That's the power of small wins. They start the engine, they keep the wheels turning. And before you know it, you're unstoppable. Motivation doesn't last, recharge it daily. Just like a meal doesn't keep you full forever and a shower doesn't keep you clean for a week, motivation needs to be renewed. It's not a one-time event. It's a daily choice. You can't hear one speech, read one book, or watch one video and expect to stay fired up forever. Life will wear you down. Problems will show up. Doubts will sneak in. That little flame inside. It can flicker if you don't protect it, or worse, go out completely. That's why you have to feed your mind like you feed your body every day. A few minutes of something uplifting, a reminder of why you started, a look at the goal, a conversation with someone who lifts you up, not drags you down. These are your mental vitamins, and without them, you'll start running on empty, and eventually you'll stall. You see, motivation isn't automatic. You've got to be intentional about it. You've got to build a routine that keeps you sharp, focused, and hungry. Because the world isn't designed to keep you inspired, it's designed to distract you. So each day, find something that reminds you of your purpose, something that pulls you forward. That's how you stay charged. That's how you keep going, not just once in a while, but every single day. You'll never always feel like it. That's a fact. There will be days when you wake up ready to take on the world, and others when you don't even want to get out of bed. That's just how it goes. Your emotions will rise and fall. Your energy will come and go. But if you only act when you feel like it, your progress will be as inconsistent as the weather. Winners don't rely on feelings. They rely on decisions. They've learned that commitment isn't about doing it when it's convenient. It's about doing it because you made a promise to yourself. You go to work, you make the call, you do the workout, not because it feels good in the moment, but because it moves you closer to something bigger. Anyone can be consistent when it's easy. The real test is what you do when it's not. When you're tired, when you're stressed, when you'd rather quit. That's when it counts. That's when character is built. Not on the good days, but on the tough ones. So no, you won't always feel like it. That's normal. But the ones who succeed are the ones who show up anyway. And when you show up over and over again, even when you don't feel like it, something powerful happens. You become the kind of person who doesn't need to be pushed because you've learned how to pull yourself. Goals give direction, habits create results. Setting a goal is like drawing a map. It tells you where you want to go. It gives you clarity, purpose, a reason to move. But a map alone won't take you anywhere. You've got to start walking. And that's where habits come in. Habits are the footsteps. They're the daily routines, the quiet disciplines, the small choices that don't look like much on the surface, but stacked over time, they build the bridge from where you are to where you want to be. A goal can inspire you. It can fire you up, give you a vision. But if you don't back it up with consistent habits, it just becomes a nice wish. The gym membership won't get you fit. The book on your shelf won't make you smarter. The dream on your vision board won't come true without daily action to match it. You've probably seen people set big goals every January, but by February, they're right back to the same old habits. Why? Because the goal didn't fail, the system did. It's not what you say you want that shapes your life. It's what you do every day when no one's watching. So yes, set the goal. Aim high. Dream big. But don't forget the real magic is in the habits, because while goals point the way, it's the habits that take you there. One step, one day, one small win at a time. Your environment fuels your mindset. You can have the best intentions, the strongest goals, and a rock-solid plan, but if you're in the wrong environment, it'll drain you. Slowly, quietly, and consistently. You see, your surroundings either lift you up or pull you down. They either feed your focus or feed your distractions. The people around you matter. The conversations you hear every day, they shape the way you think. If you're always around negativity, doubt, gossip, and excuses, don't be surprised when your motivation starts to shrink. But get around people who are growing, pushing, learning. Suddenly you start to believe a little more. Do a little more, become a little more. It's not just people either. Look at your space. Look at what's on your desk and your phone on your walls. Is your environment set up to support your goals, or is it making it harder? You can't plant a seed in concrete and expect it to grow. It needs the right soil, the right light, the right atmosphere. The truth is, your mindset is constantly being shaped. And if you're not careful about what's shaping it, you'll drift without even realizing it. So take control. Build an environment that speaks life into your vision. Surround yourself with people who remind you of your potential, not your limits. Make your space a place where progress feels natural, because when your environment is right, the mindset follows. And when the mindset is strong, almost anything becomes possible. Excuses are comfortable lies. They're the soft pillows we use to rest our potential on. They sound reasonable, even logical. I don't have time. I'm too tired. I'll start tomorrow. And before you know it, those little lies have wrapped themselves around your dreams and put them to sleep. The problem with excuses is they feel good in the moment. They take the pressure off. They let you off the hook, but they cost you more than you realize. Every time you make an excuse, you trade progress for comfort. You trade growth for safety. And you trade what could be for what's easy now. You see, no one ever built a meaningful life on top of excuses. No one ever reached their goals by being clever with reasons. Success doesn't care how valid your excuse sounds. It only responds to action. It only moves for the one who says, yes, it's hard, but I'm doing it anyway. And here's the thing deep down we usually know when we're making excuses. There's a little voice inside that says, come on, you're better than this. That voice is the truth. And if you listen to it long enough, it'll push you to trade your excuses for effort. So call the excuses what they are, lies dressed up as logic. You don't need them. What you need is honesty, responsibility, and the courage to say, no more waiting. I'll start now. Because the life you want doesn't live on the other side of another excuse, it lives on the other side of action. Motivation is personal responsibility. It's not something that's handed to you, not something that arrives on a silver platter or falls from the sky. It's something you have to take ownership of. You can't rely on someone else to motivate you because no one else can walk your path, feel your drive, or see the future you've envisioned. That responsibility, it's yours. The moment you realize that motivation is on you, things change. You stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect day, the perfect condition. You stop waiting for someone to tell you what to do. You start creating your own momentum. You start recognizing that if you want something, you have to take charge of making it happen, not just once in a while, but consistently. It's easy to get caught up in the trap of blaming the environment, blaming the people around you, blaming everything except the one thing you have control over, yourself. You can't wait for someone else to make you excited. You can't wait for the stars to align. You have to show up, even when it's hard, even when it's uncomfortable, even when you don't feel like it. That's when motivation becomes real. It's when you take full responsibility for your actions, your progress, your future. You see, motivation doesn't come from external sources. It's not about a book or a speaker or a shiny new goal. It's about you deciding that today you're going to take action. You're going to move forward no matter what the circumstances. Motivation doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It waits for you to decide to take control. So if you want to be motivated, take responsibility for it. Don't leave it to chance. Don't leave it to the whims of the moment. Wake up every day and make the choice to fuel your own fire. When you do that, motivation will follow. Passion is a spark, but purpose is the engine. Passion fades, but purpose can sustain you through the hard times. When you're clear about your why, motivation isn't dependent on fleeting emotions. It's rooted in a deeper understanding of why you're doing what you're doing. When purpose is at the core of your goals, motivation becomes something more lasting. It becomes a force that drives you even on the days when motivation feels weak. Many people think motivation is the trigger that sparks their action, but motivation is a result of commitment. When you make a commitment to yourself, motivation shows up as a byproduct of that decision. It's about doing what you said you'd do, regardless of your emotions or current state. In other words, motivation is the reward for keeping your promises to yourself, not the prerequisite. Success is built on the small, consistent actions you take daily. It's easy to get excited about making a huge change and envisioning big success. But the reality is, progress often feels small and incremental. Those tiny steps add up to something much bigger over time. Motivation is sustained by these small wins. They keep the engine running day after day. Motivation often comes from embracing discomfort, not avoiding it. We grow when we stretch outside of our comfort zones, when we push through the resistance that naturally arises. It's easy to stay where it's safe and familiar, but real growth and the motivation to keep going is found when you embrace the discomfort of doing hard things. Motivation thrives in the soil of challenge and discomfort. The people around you are a reflection of the direction your life will take. Surround yourself with individuals who challenge you to be better, who push you to take action, and who keep you accountable. Your environment is powerful, and the right people can be the fuel you need when your own motivation is running low. Choose to be around those who uplift you, not those who drain your energy. It's easy to think that watching motivational videos, reading books, or listening to inspiring speeches will keep you going. But the real source of motivation comes from within. External sources can light the fire, but it's up to you to keep it burning. When motivation comes from the inside, it's not dependent on the next video or speech. It's rooted in your own drive, your own internal desire to improve and achieve. It's not about working for hours on end, pushing yourself to the limit in one go. It's about showing up day after day. Motivation is sustained when you build habits of consistency. Small, consistent efforts compound over time, leading to big results. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of doing something all at once, but motivation will wane quickly if you're not consistent. The key is showing up regularly, no matter how small the action. We often think motivation means we should be able to do everything at once and do it perfectly. But real motivation comes when you set realistic expectations and give yourself the time to grow. Progress is a journey, and it's important to be patient with yourself along the way. Motivation thrives when you understand that results don't happen overnight, and you're okay with that. It's about moving forward one step at a time. Motivation isn't a straight line, it's a journey filled with ups and downs. Sometimes you'll feel on top of the world, and other times you'll wonder if it's all worth it. Success is never linear. The key is to keep going, even on the days when things feel tough. Motivation comes from understanding that setbacks are part of the process. They don't define you. How you respond to them does. They don't let one bad day or week derail your long-term vision. Motivation is fueled by momentum, and momentum is built by celebrating your small victories along the way. It's easy to get caught up in the end goal and forget to acknowledge the steps you've already taken. Reward yourself for the progress you make, no matter how small. This doesn't mean you're complacent. It means you're acknowledging the effort, which fuels the desire to keep going. Motivation thrives when you recognize your wins and reward yourself for the hard work. Motivation is a vital force in our journey toward success, but it's often misunderstood. People tend to think of motivation as a sudden burst of inspiration that carries them toward their goals. While it's true that moments of inspiration can spark action, the truth is far deeper and more complex. Motivation, when understood and cultivated correctly, becomes something more than just a fleeting feeling. It becomes a personal responsibility, a force that you actively create, nurture, and maintain through daily choices and habits. To begin with, motivation doesn't last. It needs to be recharged daily. Like a battery that eventually loses power, your motivation can diminish over time if you don't take deliberate actions to replenish it. Every day presents an opportunity to reset your motivation, to realign with your goals, and to tap into the energy and enthusiasm that can push you forward. This means that motivation isn't something that will come and find you when the moment feels right. It's something you need to cultivate by engaging in practices that keep you focused, inspired, and energized, even when you're not feeling particularly motivated. Through daily routines, small wins, and a mindset that continually seeks improvement, you can recharge your motivation and keep it alive. Furthermore, it's essential to recognize that motivation is a personal responsibility. It's not something you can wait for, it's something you must create. Relying on external sources for motivation, whether it's a video, a book, or a conversation with a mentor, is a temporary fix. True motivation comes from within. It is cultivated through your own commitment to your goals, your vision, and your journey. When you take responsibility for your own motivation, you take control of your future. You no longer wait for inspiration to strike. Instead, you create the conditions that lead to motivation. You build habits, engage with your vision regularly, and show up every day even when the external world doesn't align with your desires. One of the most powerful tools in sustaining motivation is the ability to create and maintain discipline. Discipline is far more powerful than inspiration because, unlike inspiration, discipline doesn't fade. Discipline is your commitment to taking action regardless of how you feel. It's the routine that propels you forward even on the days when your enthusiasm is low. Discipline takes the guesswork out of motivation by creating structure, and that structure fuels long-term success. While motivation can be a spark, it's discipline that keeps the fire burning. But here's the important thing: discipline doesn't come easy. It's easy to get caught in the trap of thinking that motivation alone will drive you. But as anyone who has achieved something worthwhile will tell you, motivation is only part of the equation. The real work comes in the daily grind, the effort required to show up and do the work, even when it doesn't feel exciting or new. The trick is to understand that motivation will not always feel present, and in those moments, your discipline becomes the anchor that keeps you moving forward. The more you embrace this, the more consistent your motivation will become, because you'll be driven by something greater than just a fleeting feeling. Equally important is the fact that your environment shapes your mindset. Your surroundings, including the people you interact with and the physical space you occupy, play a crucial role in influencing your motivation and success. If you surround yourself with negativity or distractions, it becomes much harder to stay motivated. Conversely, if you cultivate an environment that encourages growth, positivity, and discipline, motivation becomes a natural byproduct of your daily life. Your mindset is shaped by the things you see, hear, and experience, which is why it's critical to choose your environment carefully. When you invest in creating an environment that supports your goals, you make it easier for motivation to thrive. Another crucial factor in building lasting motivation is understanding that it is built upon small, consistent wins. Success isn't a giant leap, it's a series of small steps, each one adding to the momentum that carries you forward. Motivation isn't just about having one great day of productivity, it's about showing up day after day, steadily working toward your goals and acknowledging the small victories along the way. These small wins are the fuel that keeps your motivation alive. They prove to you that progress is being made, that you are on the right track, and that your efforts are not in vain. By focusing on the process and celebrating the little achievements, you build a foundation of motivation that is sustained over time. Moreover, motivation thrives on challenges. It's easy to stay motivated when things are going well, but the true test of your drive comes when you face obstacles and setbacks. Success is never a straight path, and there will be times when you question your abilities or feel overwhelmed. However, it is during these times that motivation can truly grow. By embracing challenges, you cultivate resilience and determination. When you push through adversity, motivation becomes a result of your ability to overcome, and that confidence in your capacity to handle difficulties will propel you to greater heights. Additionally, setting clear, actionable goals is essential to sustaining motivation. Without a clear vision of where you want to go, it's easy to become lost or distracted. Goals give you direction, and they serve as a roadmap for the journey ahead. But goals alone aren't enough. You must align your daily actions with those goals. This is where discipline, habits, and consistency come into play. When your actions reflect your goals, and when your habits are aligned with your vision, motivation flows naturally. You're not constantly chasing motivation. It becomes a byproduct of your day-to-day commitment to the bigger picture. However, the key is to be patient and forgiving with yourself. Building motivation takes time, and it's easy to fall into the trap of expecting instant results. The reality is that motivation, like any other skill, requires time to develop. If you stumble, if you slip up, or if you don't feel motivated every day, that's okay. The key is to keep going. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is often their ability to stay consistent, even when the motivation is low. Understand that motivation ebbs and flows, but your ability to keep going, to push through when you don't feel like it, will ultimately determine your success. In conclusion, motivation is a powerful tool, but it's not a one-time feeling. It's a mindset, a responsibility, and a habit that you create and nurture daily. By taking ownership of your motivation, embracing discipline, cultivating a supportive environment, and focusing on consistent small wins, you can sustain your drive even when external circumstances or emotions are less than ideal. Motivation is a skill that can be developed, and with patience, persistence, and a clear sense of purpose, it will carry you forward toward your goals, one step at a time. Remember, motivation is not something you wait for, it's something you create, and when you do, it becomes the fuel that propels you to achieve everything you set out to do.